Hello and welcome. We are Africa Climate Peace and Security Solutions. And today we are joined by a very important guest from the East African community who's going to introduce himself. And today we're going to be speaking about regional integration and how it contributes to peace and security across Africa. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you. It's my pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Please take this moment and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Didakos Kaputa, working with the Peace and Security Department in the East African community, an area where I have been for quite a couple of years, and working on issues of peace, security, and the role the security plays in the overall integration of the East African community.
So thank you, Dr. And maybe as we speak, we all know what is going on across the world, not only in Africa, but also in the other sides, other parts of the continent. How can we say, or rather, what interventions does the East African community have in terms of regional integration complementing the work of peace and security across Africa, especially?
Yeah, thank you very much. The role of EAC integration in peace and security is premised within the objectives of the community, and also it is also premised in chapter 23 of the treaty that establishes the East African community. Under chapter 23 of the treaty, there is Article 124. And Article 124 delves specifically on the peace and security, regional peace and security, and how it facilitates the integration. Within that, the Article 124 begins by saying that peace and security is a prerequisite to socio-economic development of the community and to the attainment of the objectives of the integration. There can never be development without peace. Peace is a very strong facilitator and a grant of development. The role of the integration is to ensure that there is peace in the region, there is a good environment that facilitates trade and development, and that every person, every citizen of the East Africa, of the community, has a role to play towards the integration. That is how peace and security now comes in. Now, within that Article 124, after that area of strengthening peace within and around the community, that is between the EAC partner states and the neighbors. There are other provisions within that article or within the treaty to provide for combating transnational organized crime, for example, such as terrorism and other organized crime. It provides for establishing or developing a conflict prevention, management, and resolution mechanism. And it also provides for development of an early warning mechanism. Now, when you combine the early warning mechanism and conflict prevention and management mechanism, all of these are focusing on regulating the conflicts within the region. And Article 125 now deals with the defense, the role of defense in promoting security and safety within the region, stabilizing the region, and therefore promoting development. Because it is within that peaceful environment that trade can flourish. And trade, when it flourishes, it brings in the gains, and therefore which gains are enjoyed by the East Africans, and development now moves on. That is what I can summarize on the role of peace, security towards the integration in this.
Thank you, Dr. for that. Now, you've mentioned something about early warning. You've mentioned something about people having different roles to play, especially member states. And you've mentioned how they also contribute to peace and security. But we also have this nexus to climate security. And we've had cases where, especially bringing in the gender aspect, we've had where the terrorism, or rather the terrorists, usually get food as incentives to get the women and the youth to take part in these immoral behaviors, such as contributing to terrorism itself. So, how can these specific interventions, especially where climate security is an issue, it has contributed significantly where areas such as the Sahel regions or areas that are largely infested by the terrorist group, the Al-Shabaabs, and so on and so forth. How do you ensure as a regional body that such incentives do not play a role in recruiting these women and the youth into terrorism?
Now, under Article 124 of the treaty, there are those provisions on regional peace and security. But that provision, that article cannot work in its own isolation. We have, again, beyond that, developed a protocol. There is a protocol on regional peace and security. And also that protocol has got an implementation mechanism, which is called the EAC Strategy on Regional Peace and Security. The strategy on regional peace and security has got 23 goals. And out of those goals, there is terrorism, there is the role of the security agencies, there is environment, climate, and security, there is maritime security and development. Every aspect that is key to security is provided for under there. For example, under terrorism, we have even gone ahead and develop a specific strategy on countering terrorism in the region that deals with how we detect terrorism, how we respond, and how we contain and manage the situation. So that is clearly articulated there. And the actions, the interventions, and the tools are well documented there. I will not go into the details because it is a vacant on its own. Now, so that one demonstrates on how you counter terrorism, for example. The issues of environment and climate change, how they interact with each other and promote insecurity in the area, they are also provided for. For example, we have also another protocol which I did not inform you. It is regional regional. It is actually normally called the Nairobi Protocol. Mm-hmm. It is a protocol on small arms and light weapons. Mm? That protocol on small arms and light weapons, that one as EAC, we do implement it because it is a protocol that has been developed within the region of the East African community, that the Regional Center of Small Arms and Light Weapons, which is based in Nairobi here, is actually implementing, and they are the main implementers of that protocol. But we also have other protocols like EAC protocol on illicit drug trafficking. The drugs, they facilitate terrorism. The drugs the drugs actually, the purpose of the drugs is to raise funds. One of the key areas is that they are very, very profitable. And some of the funds that come from them, again, may facilitate terrorism, may facilitate other bad transnational cross-border and transnational organized crime. Mm-hmm. So all of those, when you put them together, they help in fostering an environment that will not give a fertile ground for such illegal activities to take place within the EAC region. There is also some kind of instabilities that often take place or not instabilities, I may call them security issues or insecurity issues that are brought about by environment itself. For example, it is very known that under the triangle of northeastern Uganda, northwestern Kenya, and southern Sudan, that area is infested by a lot of small arms and light bombs, because that's where also the pastoral communities live. And most of the pastoral communities use small arms in doing making their rakes and cattle rustling. And it is that area again that normally suffers from drought. And that drought fosters the movement of pastoralists from place to place. As they are moving, they are armed. As they are armed, they are causing more insecurities. So all those are provided for in a number of instruments of the EAC, both in the protocols for arms and light bombs. Secondly, in the Fugo protocol, which is a protocol on that deals with issues of cattle and others, and then again in the protocol on regional on peace and security. So all those are provided for there. So in other words, in a nutshell, is that all the elements that tend to impact on security are provided for within the EAC instruments, but they are anchored to the treaty under Chapter 23 of the treaty, and more so under the Article 124 and 125.
So you mentioned something about Mifugo, so which means EAC also caters to the human-animal conflict.
Yes.
So as far as also gender is concerned, how do these women contribute to peace and security across the African region, especially Eastern and East Africa? And also, as we wrap up, what would you deem as a long-lasting solution for Africa and, of course, East Africa in terms of peace and security?
If I can begin with what you have ended with, actually, the answer to the stability of the region is the EAC integration. And later on, the integration of the entire continent of Africa. Under the EAC, we are looking not only integration, but the ultimate goal is the political federation, where all the partner states at point X are expected to be under one political leadership. This is a strategic security vision, because we can no longer work alone. And the more we work together, the more we united, the more strength we have to negotiate for business, to enforce peace or sustain peace in our region, as I told you how it is provided for in Article 124 of the treaty. Secondly, on the component of women, it is actually not only women, but we also have youth, women and youth. There is a provision under United Nations, which is UN Security Council Resolution 1325. The EAC is actually developing a regional action plan on women, peace and security. We have done some interventions, but we are giving them a legal, a kind of like a policy backing by having a regional action plan on women, peace and security that is in the UN Security Council 1325. That provides everything on the role of women in security, in mediation, in peacemaking, and in promotion of peace. But there is quite a lot that women have done outside there that is not even documented. Women have done fantastically, very well, but we are trying to put instruments together so that whatever is done in a more organized way. The same applies to the youth. We have already developed a regional action plan on youth, peace and security, which is also anchored on the UN Security Council Resolution 2250. The same provides how we can engage the youth in promotion of peace and security, how we can model our youth to be focused, to mainly work in a patriotic way together as either regional youth together, but also with a focus on Pan-Africanism. So the youth are our leaders. They have started already. They are our leaders today, and they are leaders of tomorrow. So we shall be judged by the future. If the youth are left out and we only wait for them to take over from us when we have died, or when we have left, or when we are too weak to effect anything, and that's when they are coming in. So our role is to integrate them in what we are doing now, to understand the circumstances that our countries are facing, the situations they are going through, and how the youth can contribute. It is only when the youth have appreciated how the country is managing that the youth will support a country to move forward, that the youth will support the region to move on. The moment we leave them out, then they will not understand what we are doing, and you will see them on the streets. But if we integrate them and we are working together, then we shall have solved the situation before even we reach it. That is what the EAC is looking at. We have made a number of interventions on youth, peace and security. We are going to make a number of them on regional women, peace and security. But now we are more with the youth, peace and security because their strategy was already adopted by the council, and we have a lot we are doing on the ground.
This is so good to hear about the adoption by the ESC for youth, because they always say the youth is also the forgotten age brackets.
And yet they play a big role because they are over about 70% of the ESC population. Yes.
Okay.
Very big mass.
Well, I know at least you have impacted someone who's going to be listening to you right now.
Yes.
And if there's a youth watching us here right now, also you can contribute to the peace and security across the African region. Thank you so much, Dr. Kaguta, for joining us through this program on Africa Climate Peace and Security Solutions. And of course, we are seeking to achieve a better Africa, the Africa that we want, on Agenda 2063. Thank you so much, Dr. Kaguta, for these interventions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante.